चाहे आप अपने फोकस पे कितना भी काम कर लें, एक सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज जो हम लोग सब फेस करते हैं वो है डिस्ट्रैक्शंस। स्पेशली आज के टाइम में जब गैजेट्स इतने सारे हो गए हैं और एनवायरनमेंट इतना डायनामिक है, डिस्ट्रैक्ट होना ऑब्वियस है, होता है, राइट? बट द प्रॉब्लम इज हाउ डू आई डील विद दीज डिस्ट्रैक्शंस? यू कांट ऑलवेज अवॉइड देम, राइट? दे आर इन योर फेस समटाइम्स। क्या करें? स्पेशली व्हेन यू आर वर्किंग फ्रॉम होम, there are more distractions around, right? So how do you deal with distractions? I want to share with you 3 ways of doing that. The first thing to understand is that when you are doing one task and in between you get into something else and you come back to this, even if you've done that in a few seconds, you've lost your productivity by approximately 25%. A research says this and they've been able to prove it with a very big sample size, which means it's true. It's true that there is a concept called switching time, which tells us that when we switch from one task to another, we lose our overall productivity level of performing that task. So we need to stick to the task and complete the task before we move to any other task. Another important thing to remember before I get into how to avoid and handle distractions, we've got to understand that being a multitasker is not your strength. Our human brain is not made to do multiple things at the same time. तो हम लोग काफी प्राइड लेते हैं इस बात की कि हम भाई मल्टीटास्क करें. Especially as a woman, let me tell you, a lot of women think, अरे multitasking is what women do very well. Not such a great thing to do at all. You could be playing multiple roles and that's fantastic. But multitasking means you are thinking of another task or actually performing some bit of that task while you're doing something else at the same time. There are enough and more studies done to prove that when you do this, you don't do anything too well. You're not giving your 100% here, you're not 100% there. Which means you will always have to deal with compromised results. If that's not who you are, then you have to stop taking pride in being a multitasker. Now let's look at 3 ways to handle distraction, knowing that I want to do one task at a time. भाई मुझे switching time concept समझ में आ गया और मुझे इसी task को complete करना है, लेकिन क्या करें युक्ति? बहुत डिस्ट्रैक्शन है. So the first rule to manage distractions is to remember the 90-15 principle. 90-15 principle says after 90 minutes of focused work, take 15 minutes break. You have to do that. If you want to put an alarm or a timer to help you do that, please use it. 90 minutes means 1.5 hours. 1.5 hours का concentrated work करने के बाद 15 मिनट की break लेना जरूरी है. This will elevate your overall productivity level and you will achieve more. The second thing to remember is to plan distractions. Distractions will happen. How about going to those distractions proactively? For example, अगर आपको मालूम है कि आपके बच्चे घर में हैं और आप घर से काम कर रहे हैं, तो आप 1.5 घंटे के काम के बाद वो 15 मिनट की ब्रेक में जाके उनको हाई बोल के आ जाइए. अगर आपके एल्डरली पेरेंट्स घर पे हैं तो आप उनसे एक बारी पूछ लीजिए, सब ठीक है, कुछ चाहिए तो नहीं, पानी चाहिए, चाय बना दे. यू हैव 15 minutes to help people around, talk to people. If you are in office and you know that this friend of mine just walks into my cubicle or cabin whenever he wants, when I take my 15 minutes break after 1.5 hours of work, I will walk up to that friend to say, hi, what's up? How are you doing? I'm just going to get back to my work and have something important to finish, but I thought I'll come and say hi. In all probability, he or she is not going to come and say hi to you immediately after that, right? So go meet your distractions proactively wherever you can. And the third very important thing to keep in mind about distractions is this. We can bring in Pareto Principle even in how we manage distractions. What is Pareto Principle? Pareto Principle is also called as 80-20 rule, which means 80% of our task gives us 20% results. And there are some 20% tasks which actually give us 80% of the results. How do we break this into distractions? We don't plan a day to the T. We never plan 100% of our time. If we've got 10 hours to work, we plan only 8 hours, knowing that there will be some or the other distraction and 2 hours will go here and there. कभी 10 मिनट का यहाँ पे ब्रेक, कभी 15 मिनट का वहाँ पे ब्रेक, कभी बीच में आधे घंटे का लंच ब्रेक. ये सब ब्रेक्स मिला के 2 घंटे इधर उधर होने ही वाले हैं. So when I plan my work for exact time that I have, I will be disappointed because I will not be able to finish all of that. And when I'm not able to finish, I will be demotivated thinking ये प्लानिंग का कुछ फायदा होता नहीं है, ये टू डू बनाने से कोई फायदा नहीं होता है, क्योंकि ये टू डू तो कभी खत्म होने वाला ही नहीं है. And the reason why you're not finishing that is because it is not a realistic to-do list. A realistic to-do list will be planned in a way that you consume 80% of the time that you have in the day and not 100%. Leave the balance 20% for some distractions, something unplanned which is bound to happen. So keep these 3 very interesting ways in mind. They're very, very practical, very easy to implement. If you bring it to practice, I am sure you will not be hassled with distractions anymore and you will reach the peak of your productivity.